Hello and welcome to today's Aquarium at Home live stream. I am talking to you through a surgical mask, so if my voice sounds a little bit muffled, that is probably why. But we are looking at a Panther Chameleon and a Sarah. Sarah, what is your last name still Webb?
Yes.
So Sarah Webb. So Sarah, what is your title here at the aquarium?
I'm the Program and Enrichment Coordinator. So in the past when you've come to visit and you've seen a penguin chat or an otter chat, that's something that I work on. Things like that. And I also work on enrichment for the animals. And that's all the fun things we do to make their life exciting here at the aquarium. New toys, experiences, sights and sounds for them. But one of my favorite parts of my job is I also take care of the reptiles here in our island life.
Which is where we are right here at the moment. So these two tanks in particular are kind of your domain.
Yeah.
And the Panther Chameleon is obviously the star of today's live stream, and I think he or she, do we know? He knows it.
Yeah.
He was giving us he was looking directly into the camera. So what can you tell us about these reptiles? I mean, where are they from, and what are some of their more interesting adaptations?
Sure. These guys come from the island of Madagascar. There's over 100 different types of chameleons. There's a lot of different kinds of chameleons out there. Some of them live outside of Madagascar, but this guy would be native to Madagascar. And again, that's a big island off the coast of Africa. These particular chameleons, the Panther Chameleons, live in the more rainforested part of the islands. But there's other different kinds of chameleons that live in the spiny forest, for example. Behind me, we've got our spiny forest exhibit. You can see on the way up at the top, there's a little carpet chameleon that would live in that more dry part of the island. So.
Cool. So we've got, first of all, thank you to those of you who are watching. We really appreciate anybody tuning in to our live streams. We hope that we're providing some much needed distraction and maybe even some learning opportunities during this time when a lot of us are stuck at home. And on that note, if you have any questions for Sarah about working at an aquarium, about Panther Chameleons, about training our animals, enrichment, any of those things, those are all well within her capability to answer. So please type them down in the comments. I will pass them on as soon as they come in. And it looks like they may be coming in faster and hotter and heavier than I am able to respond to quickly. So just bear with me as they come in. The first one that we've got is from Denise Ruggiero? I probably mispronounced that, but that is probably going to be par for the course for today's live stream, so I apologize in advance. But Denise would like to know, he is so big, is that full grown?
He's actually a little bit shy of full grown. So he is a young male. He's been here at the aquarium for just a few months. So he has a little bit of growing left to do. Panther Chameleons are one of the larger types of chameleons.
So how big could he get?
He'll get just a little bit bulkier. He's actually might be a good place for you to catch over there, Casey. This is an adult male in the exhibit right now.
So this is an adult.
Yes. And he's even a little tiny bit on the small side for an adult.
All right, so this guy is an off-exhibit animal. So if you haven't seen him, and obviously you'll notice that their coloration and patterning is very distinctly different. They both look very beautiful, but they're very different looking.
Yes, they have different coloring just as an individual animal, and also very different little regions of the island. The Panther Chameleons will have different colors as well.
Okay. So Ashley King-Cheros is here. Welcome back. You are one of our frequent stream watchers and question askers, so thank you very much for that. And she says that Claire, age 2, is here from Sigma Mountain. We love reptiles.
Yay! Me too.
Okay. What are they like to work with?
Reptiles are my favorite group of animals to work with. I'm an insect and reptile person. It's fun to get to know their personalities. Their personalities aren't always quite as obvious as they are working maybe with otters or lemurs or things like that, but they're all individuals. This guy's a really great example of that. He loves interacting with me. I can't walk by him without him reaching out and wanting to be picked up, whereas the guy that you just saw in the exhibit there wants nothing to do with me. So they're all really different, and that's one of the most fun things, is kind of discovering who they are.
Okay. So Kyle Flager is watching. I hope I haven't mispronounced that, but he would like to know, how long do Panther Chameleons live?
They're sadly a really short-lived type of animal. They can live as a male, maybe 5 to pretty good. It might be a stretch for a lot of animals. And then the females live only maybe 2 to 3 years. So for being as complex and cool as they are, they don't have a very long lifespan.
Okay. So Kim Miller is asking, and this is an excellent segue to us talking about some of the more interesting adaptations that Panther Chameleons have. And she asks, is he matching your shirt, Sarah?
Well, first of all, I want to say hi, Kim. Kim is a dear friend of mine, and she makes a lot of clothing for me, so I can see why she's asking that question. He's not actually matching my shirt. This is his normal color. On TV and cartoons, we see chameleons matching their backgrounds to camouflage, and they certainly can do a tiny bit of that, but their color changes more often to reflect their mood. So this is a good normal color for him. It lets me know that he's comfortable and that he's okay to continue staying out here and talking with everyone. I know that this particular one, if he gets nervous, his belly starts to go really white, and if one of the chameleons were to become really upset, they start to turn really dark colors. So there's a lot of variation just in their color, but I think of it kind of like our facial expression. We change our facial expression depending on how we're feeling, and they change their color depending on how they're feeling.
Now, one interesting thing about Panther Chameleons and their patterns is that sometimes you can actually get a pretty good idea where a Panther Chameleon is from based on the coloration and the patterning.
That's right.
So some of the Panther Chameleons in Madagascar, as Sarah mentioned, have very distinct colorations. Aren't there some that are called pinkies?
There's all different kinds. There are some that are almost totally like a teal color. There's some that are very red. There are some that are more yellow. This guy's kind of pastels and blue. That guy over there's colors are more intense that you saw earlier. So yeah, just a lot of variation in it. It has to do with just the little different areas that they come from, and then their own individual coloration.
So Sarah, if I can ask really quickly, can I turn on the light on my phone for just a second so we can really kind of highlight the color, because I'm not sure how well it's coming through.
Absolutely.
So I don't want to stress him out, but just so you can kind of get a better look at the colors on this guy. He is just vibrant. They look almost psychedelic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and again, it changes. He's actually turned a little bit lighter on the side that was facing you. He wasn't so sure what you were up to. So I can, from my angle, see that he's darker on the side that faces away from you than he is on the side that's facing you.
All right, well, we will turn that light back off. And I'll take a moment to pause for just a moment and say thank you very much to those of you who are donating to this live stream. As we say down in the description, all the donations that come in through these live streams directly contribute to the care of the animals, which is ongoing. Even though we are closed to visitors, all of the animals, whether they're on exhibit or off exhibit, are receiving the same world-class care that they receive all the time. And along with that, obviously, come a lot of costs. And so those of you who are donating are doing an excellent service to the animals and helping us to defray the cost of having to remain closed and not letting people in during the current health crisis. So thank you again for that. And those of you who are able to contribute as the stream goes on, we will appreciate all contributions, no matter how big or small. And moving on with some of these comments, we've got a lot of people who are saying that they're just a lot of comments like pretty and beautiful. And they really are just gorgeous, gorgeous reptiles.
They are. They're really stunning, and that makes them a really good ambassador. A lot of people aren't always feeling really warm and fuzzy about reptiles, but chameleons are a really great example of, I call it like a gateway reptile for people falling in love with reptiles.
All right, so Lou Everman, who is another frequent stream watcher and commenter, asks, on behalf of 6-year-old Julian, who is studying frog life cycles in his kindergarten at home class this week, what is the life cycle of a Panther Chameleon?
That's a good question. So these guys reach sexual maturity, give or take around a year of age, and they're very territorial. They don't like to live together. So the males will have their own territory. They'll guard it against other males. And when they meet a female, she'll show with her posture and her color if she's ready to mate. And if she is, they will mate, and she will wander off on her own. And she has the hard job. She is gonna, at an appropriate time, climb down from wherever she's hanging out. She's going to dig a hole, a really long tunnel, and she's gonna lay her her eggs down in that tunnel. And then she's done. She's going to wander away. The thing about the females is that they tend to pretty much just continuously produce eggs, whether they're fertile or not, once they reach sexual maturity. So that's part of why their lifespan is just a little shorter than the males. They just have kind of a harder job. So then the little chameleons will hatch out. They're teeny tiny. When we've had them hatch here at the aquarium, I mean, they're just the size of your pinky nail, just perfect little miniatures of themselves. And then they start to grow and they get more colorful as they get a little bit older, and it all starts over again. One of the interesting things we've noticed with our females here at the aquarium is when they go down and they dig a hole to lay their eggs in, they'll dig a hole and cover it up really, really well if it actually has the eggs in it. They'll try to hide it. And then they'll dig a couple of other really obvious holes and leave those there, we think to distract from predators who might be looking for their eggs.
Now, does that make your job harder as their caretaker when it comes to looking for potential baby chameleons or eggs?
It sure does. I have to look really hard and be really gentle because the eggs are very small and delicate. So it's never in the obvious place.
So you say small and delicate. Can you give us an indication with maybe your fingers how large they would be?
Sure, they're about that big.
So pretty small. So
Yeah.
smaller than like a songbird egg.
Yes.
Okay. We have some other questions coming in. Thank you so much for making my job easier and not having to think of questions to ask. Sarah Vaughn would like to know, what does he eat?
He eats crickets mostly here at the aquarium. Sometimes different kinds of worms as well. We have special kinds of cockroaches we get in sometimes that we'll feed to animals. So they're mostly eating insects.
Okay. Now I want to try and get in a little bit closer so we can appreciate how cool chameleon feet are. Can you talk a little bit about their shape and maybe why they're designed that way, maybe how that contributes to the lifestyle that Panther chameleons lead?
Absolutely, yeah. Their feet are one of the things that makes them really unique. They're kind of doing the live long and prosper thing all the time. Each foot, the what we would call fingers, you can see the fingernails, there's 3 on one side and 2 on the other, and those kind of fingers are fused together. And that helps them to hold on to little branches and twigs and vines as they climb. So you can see it's perfect for him holding on to my finger. Those little hands just wrap right around. And then he's using his tail also to wrap around and hold on as he climbs. When they eat sometimes, I've seen them hold on with their tail and their back feet and stretch all the way out, lifting their front feet off of the branch to catch their food. And then of course they use their tongue to do the rest of it.
They are very cool to watch as they move around, and sometimes they move so slowly that it can be hard. It even looks like they're just not moving at all, but if you sit there and you watch for just minutes at a time, sometimes it'll take them 5 or 6 minutes to walk along a branch, but they get there. They are just incredibly slow and methodical. Roland Jernigan Jr. would like to know, how long does it take for a chameleon to change color? And since we've already talked about the fact that they don't actually change color, maybe we can talk about them changing the lightness and darkness of that skin pigment.
Yeah, and to a degree they do change color. I guess he might go all white or more red or more blue. It happens pretty much instantaneously, and they do that again to reflect their mood.
All right. So Gina Brown says, I have had Jackson's chameleons and they are fascinating, sweet animals. My Jacksons love to be on me and walk around. And I cannot expand the comment. I'm so sorry, Gina. If I try, it just tries to tell me to delete it. So I will probably not delete your comment. But it's cool that you have Jackson's chameleons.
Yeah.
People tend to ask whether the animals that we feature on these live streams are good to have at the home. So I'll go ahead and preempt that. That question is probably going to pop up.
Yeah. Chameleons are for extremely advanced reptile keepers, very experienced. They're, without question, the hardest animals. They need the right places to hide. They're very, very sensitive animals. And then, even if you do everything right, they might only live 3 years or so, maybe, like you said, 4 or 5 is kind of pushing it. We usually see around 4.5 years in our animals here at the aquarium. And if you think about it, I have pretty much infinite resources at my disposal here at the aquarium to take care of these guys, and access to experts to help me out at other institutions and everything that these guys could need, and I still find them very challenging. So definitely not a good pet unless you're very, very experienced.
So the best way to appreciate them would probably be to come here and see the ones that we are taking care of for you, so that you can save yourself a little bit of that hassle.
Yes.
And still appreciate how cool and interesting they are to watch.
Yes.
Ashley King-Cheros comes back with another question, which is, how many babies can a chameleon have at one time? So what is their, I don't know if you would refer to that as a clutch size?
They have a lot, potentially, all at once. They can lay anywhere between 20 and 40 eggs at a time. And again, not all of them typically will hatch. Some of them just might not be fertile. Some of them might be crushed in the ground. Some of them might get picked off when they're really little. So they have a large number of young, and then a much smaller number actually make it to adulthood.
Melanie Rosalinda would like to know, where did you get him?
This guy came from a chameleon breeder. We do a lot of research, obviously, when we choose who to work with here at the aquarium, but he and another young one came in at around the same time. We have bred them here ourselves before, and we hope to continue doing that. We have, some like 60 some odd eggs that are incubating right now, but it's a really long incubation process. Depending on the temperature that the eggs are at, it can take up to a year for the eggs to hatch. So we have 2 or 3 clutches that we're watching, that we're taking care of, and that we really hope we'll get some young from at some point.
All right. Emily Hardy would like to know, well, first she says, this is so cool. Thank you so much. Well, you are welcome, Emily. We are happy to be bringing you a little bit of animal distraction in the middle of all this. But Noel, age 7, would like to know, which predators eat panther chameleons?
Oh, that's a great question. There's a lot of things that would be happy to eat them. Snakes and birds would be big ones for them. People obviously take them for the pet trade and things like that. There's not a lot to them. They're not like it wouldn't be the tastiest snack, I wouldn't think, but they do have things to worry about.
Megan Furr is asking on behalf of Greenlee, who is studying animals this week with Montessori School. She would like to know, what is his name?
That's so funny you should ask. He doesn't really have an official name. I call him Nugget. And you can too. But yeah.
So why Nugget?
Why Nugget? I mean, he's just a little nugget. Like I said, he's really been my buddy since he arrived. Whenever we have young chameleons or new chameleons that come in, we spend time with them and we try to determine if they're gonna be okay coming out and doing these kinds of things and being around exhibit and being around people. And we got 2 in at around the same time that were young, and he was one of them. And the other one we determined pretty quickly just did not enjoy interacting with us, and we didn't want to push that. So he gets to do his own thing. I don't ask him to come out and meet people. I don't ask him to sit on my hand unless I really have to. But this one is the opposite. He loves people. He loves coming out to explore. And with the aquarium really quiet right now, there's a lot of times that I just take him out in the lemur gallery, or take him, down here to hang out, or in front of the different things and exhibits to check things out. He likes checking things out.
Well, and as Sarah said earlier, if you're joining the stream late, I should go ahead and reintroduce Sarah. This is Sarah Webb, who is, remind me your title one more time.
Program and Enrichment Coordinator.
All right, so, and as Sarah was saying, taking the animals out to other exhibits is a good example of enrichment. So can we take just a moment to recap on what enrichment is and why it's beneficial, why it's so important that we actually have someone who's focused on it?
Sure, yeah. Enrichment is my favorite part of my job. Enrichment is anything we do for the animals, say to make one day different from the day before, to make life more exciting. So in better times, you might do something like go out to a restaurant or go to the aquarium. You're probably all searching for enrichment for yourselves right now. And the animals need that kind of stimulation too. So we do things like maybe take them on a field trip, let them see and hear and smell different things. They might get new toys. An animal like this might get new perching, or get a new kind of bug to eat that they haven't had before. So we try to mix things interesting and worthwhile as we can.
I mean, if you think about it, what a lot of young parents of young children have been doing for the last several weeks is living basically Sarah's life, trying to make sure that your kids are having an enriching, stimulating time, making sure every day isn't the same and that things are a little bit different to keep them interested and stimulated and excited about things. So that makes a lot of sense. That's a parallel between you and Panther Chameleon.
Yeah, we all need that. We need the coloring books, we need the movies, we need the snacks, and they need that same kind of nutrition.
Well, and all of you who are watching can feel pretty good about what you're doing because you are right now contributing to the enrichment of Nugget.
Absolutely. Nugget is definitely checking out the camera, checking out things in the exhibits. There was a moment a little while ago when he went really still where I think he noticed the tortoises down there in the exhibit hanging out.
So those are some of our spider and radiated tortoises in the Spiny Forest exhibit that is also, again, under Sarah's purview. All right, so carrying on with some more of these questions, Marcy, oh boy, Puglisi? Probably mispronounced it, sorry. Luca, age 6, wants to know what kind of chameleon makes the best pet and what do I need to make his habitat? So we've already talked about the fact they're challenging pets, so maybe we'll just talk about what kind of home they need to have.
Sure. It depends on what type of chameleon. Again, they live in different parts of the island, not all of them in Madagascar. If we're talking just about Madagascar, this guy, you can see this habitat here, they need a lot of green things to hide behind. They need a lot of things to climb on safely. They need to be the right size for their little feet. They need a lot of humidity, and I don't know if you can see there's a fogger that constantly goes in here to help keep the humidity up for them. They need a very specific temperature range that they're going to be happy in. And then that's going to be different for other types of chameleons. And this exhibit over here where we have our little carpet chameleon, this is an animal that's from the dry spiny forest in Madagascar. So totally different part of the island, much more dry. They do still need some humidity though. We have a smaller amount of fog that comes out into this exhibit. So yeah, different plants, different temperature, different humidity, different things they might like to eat depending on where they're from.
Okay. Ashley King Cheros is back with more questions. How many toes does he have? I think we said 5, 3 and 2.
Yeah, if you, I'm sure it's hard to zoom in really closely, and he just has been shedding, so he's got some flaky skin where he's shedding his skin right there. But there's 2 digits right here. If you look at the claws, that will tell you. So there's 2 little claws, and good for gripping, good for climbing on the one side, and then 3 on the other side.
Okay. All right, so we have been talking about Panther Chameleons, and if you're following along with our Weekday Wonders curated science at home learning activities that we've been pushing out every week, they come out in 5-day increments. So every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, there's a new set of science at home activities through Weekday Wonders. And along with that comes a question of the day. And today's question has to do with how you classify animals. So we've been talking about the fact that that Nugget is a Panther Chameleon and Panther Chameleons are reptiles, but how do we know that they're reptiles?
They are pretty easy to identify as reptiles, even though they're strange lizards. They do have scales. That's a big part of how we're going to determine that he is a reptile. We're going to look at the way they use energy. You and I are mammals. We get our energy from the things that we eat and inside our body. These guys really count on being able to get warm, get some rays from the sun to use energy and process their food and things like that. They also lay eggs, which is not 100% true of all reptiles, but most reptiles are egg layers. So there's a lot of things there that are telling us that they are reptiles. And then I know specifically that he's a lizard because he doesn't have a shell like a turtle would. He's got legs. He sheds in little pieces when he sheds. That's an interesting difference between, like, say, a snake and a lizard. A snake is going to shed pretty much all in one big piece. Lizards shed in patchy little pieces. So, then we can get more and more specific by looking at the different characteristics of animals.
Well, hopefully that helps those of you who are, again, following along with those Weekday Wonders activity sets. Those are all compiled under our Aquarium at Home section of our website, which is tnaqua.org, under Aquarium at Home. It's a tab toward the top of the page. And along with that, we've got a lot of other activities like coloring sheets and an archive of our past live streams, as well as some other video series we've done answering some pretty common aquarium questions. So hopefully you can make use of those and are using them to both educate your children and maybe get some much needed distraction. Melissa Kahaya, and I only know how to say that because one of our doctors is Dr. Bernie Kahaya out at the Tenacity at our Conservation Institute. But Melissa would like to know, what noises does it make, if any?
I have very occasionally heard them make a little hissing noise through their noses if they're annoyed, which I can relate to. But for the most part, they are not noise-making animals. They are very quiet and very stealthy. So a little bit of a hiss or a sigh every now and then. But for the most part, they're not making noise.
So Sarah Vaughn is back with another question from Angelica, who is 11 years old, who wants to know, how does his skin feel?
He's actually really soft. He has scales, but they are really velvety, and you can see he has a lot of kind of give to his skin. So I'm trying to think what you could compare it to. I'm not sure. It's quite soft though. It's not rough at all. Obviously, these parts up top where he's got kind of these little spines to hopefully deter predators from bothering him as much. That's a little more rough, but the skin itself is pretty soft.
Oh, we've had some more donations come in. Thank you all very much for contributing to our emergency operations fund through that little button that is conveniently placed on your screen during this live stream. That's the easiest way that you can help us to take care of the animals and defray some of that cost of having to remain closed during the COVID-19 health crisis. So thank you very, very much for that. That certainly will go a long way towards helping us make sure the animals are taken care of and that our staff is also equally well taken care of. Chastity, Whitfield would like to know, how can you tell males and females apart?
Great question. It's really easy with Panther Chameleons. They look very different. So again, he is a young male. He's very, very colorful, and he's quite a bit bigger than a female would be. The females are actually a shade of almost a bubblegum pink, which is so cool. I mean, how many pink animals are out there in the world? Not very many. So they're a little bit smaller, and they have kind of a purpley pink color to them most of the time, which is really neat. So it's super easy to tell the males from the females.
I was hoping somebody was going to ask about their eyes. So Ashley King Cheros is back and says, does his brain see two different pictures because his eyes move independently? That's a complicated question.
It is, and I'm not sure that I can fully answer it for you, other than to say, obviously we, with our what we call binocular vision, where our two eyes are both focusing in on one thing, that's how our brain is used to processing what we see. He can look independently on each side at two totally different things, and his brain can process that information in a useful way. They do still use binocular vision though when they're hunting. So one of the ways when I toss them some crickets or something like that I know they're about to go ahead and eat is I will see both of their eyes focus in on the food that they want to catch, because that type of vision, the vision that we have, is really good for gauging distance. And he needs to know how far he needs to shoot his really delicate, important tongue in order to hit the thing that he wants to hit and bring it back to his mouth. So he does use that similar vision to us sometimes when he's hunting. As far as what he sees in his head, there may be some research out there that gives us a better idea than I have at the moment, but I think overall it's kind of hard to say exactly what an animal sees and how they experience the world. That's one of the things that makes them so fascinating, is they have a different experience of the world than we do sometimes.
But that was an excellent question and an excellent response, Sarah. Lou Everman says, I can't explain why, but Nugget is a perfect name for him.
Exactly.
So you're getting kudos for your name selection.
I can't explain why I call him Nugget, but it's just what he is.
Okay, so Candy Gore would like to know, if he uses the bathroom on your hand, will you get a wart?
No, that's a new one. I have not heard that one before, and trust me, if I got a wart every time there was reptile poop on my hands, I would be a very wordy person.
All right. Mandy Testa asked on behalf of 8-year-old Nolan, when does he change color? So we've already talked about that, but some people are probably joining the stream a little bit later than others.
Sure. Yeah, they change color to reflect changes in their mood. So the same way we might smile when we're happy and frown when we're sad, he's going to have certain colors that communicate things to other chameleons. So he might have a color he would turn if there was a male coming into his territory and he wanted to tell him to back off. He might have a color that he would turn if he saw a female and he wanted to attract her. So they can get really bright, really dull. Certain colors can become more dominant. And it is a little bit individual to the different chameleons. As I said before to Casey, I don't see any way we could really capture it, but he's not quite so confident about what Casey's doing over here with the camera. So he's actually, from my angle here, he is a much lighter color on the side that the camera's facing than he is on the side that's away from the camera. And he's continually kind of changing that as Casey moves the camera around.
I could see it. Yeah, no, I could see it. Katie Burke says, my daughter, who's 4 years old, loves chameleons ever since we got our membership and received Leon in the mail. Thanks for the videos. First of all, Katie, you're very welcome for the videos. We're glad that you're able to tune in and enjoy them, and that your daughter is a fan of chameleons, because obviously both of us are as well. And Leon, if you're not familiar, is the mascot for this whole gallery. Leon shows up quite a bit. Leon the chameleon, he is the guide to all things island. So island life is our exploration of all the various definitions of what an island is. And in the case of Madagascar, which is where Nugget is from, that's a pretty obvious answer. I mean, Madagascar is one of the largest islands in the world. And this might be a good time to talk about what makes Madagascar so special.
Sure. Madagascar, as we've said before, it's a huge island off the coast of Africa. And islands in general tend to make for really special, unique wildlife. But Madagascar is extra special. About 80% of the animals that live there don't live anywhere else in the world. It's also one of the poorest island nations in the world. So it's a place where the people and the animals need a lot of help to preserve their rich history and to preserve the incredible wildlife they have there that you can't find anyplace else. And that's something we do here at the Tennessee Aquarium. You know, we talk about our conservation efforts a lot, and we talk a lot about the stuff that we do here in our own backyard, which is so important. But we actually also do a lot of conservation work over on the island of Madagascar, and we started participating in that when we opened our lemur exhibit a few years ago. So we donate to groups there that are helping to educate people. We got to help people to help animals.
In fact, one of our horticulturists actually has been over to Madagascar and is helping them to learn how to make best use of their soil so that they can farm more effectively and not engage in some practices like not strip mining, but the things that contribute to deforestation, which obviously removes habitat for animals like Panther Chameleons. So by supporting us when we reopen, coming into our gift shop, we do have some items for sale in our gift shops that directly benefit some of those groups that are over there working, as Sarah said, to better the lives of both the animals and the people. So that is definitely worth touting.
And again, it comes from your support. Those of you who are donating right now, that support that we get helps take care of the animals here. It also helps to fund all of those important conservation efforts that we take part in all over the world.
Awesome. Lou Everman would like to know, sorry if it's already been asked or covered, and it has not, but why is it called a Panther Chameleon?
That's a really good question. I am not sure. I'm guessing it has to do, he has some kind of like cat-like stripes to him. Most of them have some kind of stripes. And not that panthers have stripes, but it's a little bit cat-like. But yeah, I'm not sure exactly where the name Panther Chameleon came from. And I'm also not sure what the name would be on Madagascar. The people in Madagascar mostly speak a language called Malagasy. And I'm not sure what name they have for this particular one.
If I had to guess, I think you'd probably be on the right track with the panther thing, because the name for big cats, don't they all fall under Panthera? So that may be where that comes from. That is a good question. If I can look it up and find out, I will try and enter a comment and response after the live stream is done. Ashley King Chero says, 2 more questions, which is how often does he shed and what does he eat? We've already talked about what he eats, but maybe we can talk about how often he sheds.
Yeah, I mean, he eats crickets, and the more he does that, the older he gets, the more he's going to shed. It has to do with their growth rate. You know, they need to get rid of that old type skin to grow a little bit bigger. So when they're young, it might be more often. It might slow down a bit as they get older. They go through a great patch where they're getting a lot of great food and a lot of great energy, and they might go ahead and shed. So it's not really like clockwork necessarily. But he's just finished up a shed. So this is all really new, shiny pretty skin. You might have seen me kind of picking at his feet a little bit. He's got some spots where some of that old shed is still coming off there.
My mom actually has a question, and I was waiting for this one actually. Are they related at all to the American anole, which is my brother and I both had pet animals as a kid? So she wants to know, the anole says the anole changes color according to its mood as well. So I guess that's where that question is coming from.
Good question. Hi, Casey's mom. These guys are related to anoles in that they are reptiles, but they, to my knowledge, do not have a super close ancestor down the line there. Madagascar is full of a lot of interesting animals where they have similar characteristics to animals in really different parts of the world. The frogs in this exhibit next to us are a great example of that. These little frogs look a lot like poison dart frogs that live in South America, but the mantella frogs live in Madagascar, and they're not closely related to the poison dart frogs. They just have a lot of the same strategies for surviving because they have a lot of the same circumstances. So they're answering the same questions in similar ways, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're closely related.
All right. Well, it looks like we're winding down just a little bit on the comments that have been coming in, the questions, which have been fabulous. Thank you all so much for taking the time to ask such interesting questions. I especially liked the one about warts. Yeah, thank you so much for joining today's live stream. I'll go for just a little bit longer. If any lingering questions get posted, we'll ask those, and then we'll go ahead and bid Nugget and Sarah adieu for the day. Looks like we do have one more, which is Nancy Everhart would like to know on behalf of her son Graham, I was waiting for this one, what does it take to work in an aquarium with fish and animals? So can you talk a little bit about the path you took, which is pretty interesting?
Sure, yeah. I have a little bit of an abnormal path that I took to get where I'm at today. Most people, what you want to do is you want to do really well in school and study hard, and you want to go to college and you want to study things related to animals. So you could study zoology or biology, different things like that. People who are really into animal training will sometimes study psychology. And then you want to start volunteering. You want to get internships. You want to volunteer places to figure out if it really is for you, and to let people start to learn about who you are, what a hard worker you are, and all the things that you've learned to try to get experience. I took a funny path. I was actually a theater major in college. I always loved animals. I took a lot of biology classes, but I don't know if any of you can relate to this. I am terrible at math. Terrible. So I could not pass statistics. I could not do chemistry. I could not do the things that I needed to do to get a biology degree. So I was a theater major and just studied where I could. Biology stuff. Marine biology was one of my favorite classes. I went to school out on the East Coast and was able to go out to the ocean on field trips and see some really neat stuff. So that was a big part of my schooling. And then when I graduated, I started out at an aquarium doing checks like this, talking about the animals. So that was a way my theater degree allowed me to start working with the animals that I was really passionate about. And that was almost 15 years ago now. So I've gone from just starting out to being able to be a coordinator here at this world-class place and work with, I think, the coolest animals.
Sarah does have one of the cooler jobs in terms of working with some of the most interesting animals, I think. Panther Chameleons are a personal favorite of mine. And also of my son, who I was expecting to get some kind of a question from, but I don't see one in the chat. I'm going to scroll back through if I can just practice some nepotism here for just a moment. Looks like we don't have any more questions that... All right. Well, it looks like I haven't missed any questions, but I will hear if I do, I think. So we'll go ahead and say goodbye and thank you to Sarah. Oh, before we leave, Karen Estes would like to know, what are their natural predators?
Sure. Birds, snakes, the occasional lemurs might occasionally pick off a chameleon if they're really hungry, depending on the kind of lemur. There's a really weird predator in Madagascar called a fossa or fossa. Different people pronounce it different ways. And I can't quite really describe it to you. It's F-O-S-S-A. So those of you who are doing a little learning at home today, look that up again. F-O-S-S-A, the fossa or fossa. Really unique predator that lives on Madagascar that you don't find anywhere else. So that's worth checking out too.
All right.
And I think we're about to wrap up because our male on exhibit has spotted my little male and is on his way over to make his presence known and let him know that he needs to get out of here. So while that is entertaining for us, it can be kind of stressful for the little guy. So I'm going to go ahead and take him back home before he gets picked up.
All right, well, we will end the stream there, but I will go ahead and one more time say thank you very much to those of you who have taken the time to join us for today's Aquarium at Home live stream. Thank you especially to those of you who have taken the time and donated to our Emergency Operations Fund. Again, that is the easiest way that you can support us during this time when we can't have guests in the building. Obviously, those costs continue, so every little bit that you can contribute, if you're in a position to do so, is very, very helpful and super appreciated, and directly contributes to making sure that our animals enjoy the same care that they always do. So thank you very much for joining. Do go to Tennessee Aquariums, to our website, go to tnaqua.org and look at our Aquarium at Home section to get some more ideas for how you can keep yourself and your kids entertained during this time when we're all kind of stuck at home. And in the meantime, goodbye for now. We will see you tomorrow at around 1 p.m. Goodbye. Thank you very much.